give us a location. They're at the bottom of the bridge already. I see them running. Shut up.
Hello, I'm Maggi, a crime reporter at the Times-Picayune, here with reporter Brendan McCarthy to talk to you about the federal trial starting Wednesday of 5 police officers in the Danziger Bridge shooting case. This case is arguably the most well-known of 3 federal civil rights-related cases stemming from the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. The shooting occurred on September 4, 2005 on a Sunday morning, almost a week after the storm hit the New Orleans area. 2 men were killed and 4 people were wounded in an attack that federal prosecutors have said was unprovoked and unwarranted. Prosecutors assert the officers also wrongly arrested a man whose brother was killed on the bridge that day. 4 current and former officers are charged with civil rights violations for the shooting itself, along with a retired homicide detective who led the NOPD internal investigation. They are also accused of obstruction of justice by conspiring to falsify reports about what happened. Defense attorneys for officers assert their clients are innocent, saying they never sought to cover up what was a justified shooting. But this trial will pit cop against cop, as 5 former New Orleans police officers have already pled guilty to participating in a cover-up. Their testimony is expected to be crucial to the federal government's case. For 4 of the defendants, the trial starting Wednesday is the end of a long journey. They were first indicted in state court at the end of December 2006, charged with murder and attempted murder. The case, brought by then Orleans Parish District Attorney Eddie Jordan, was controversial, with defendant officers heralded as heroes as they walked into jail on a cold January morning. Less than 2 years later, the case tanked in state court. The U.S. Department of Justice took up the investigation, along with the FBI and U.S. Attorney Jim Letton's office. At court hearings, federal prosecutors have asserted that this is a different, stronger case than the previous state prosecution.
The shooting at the Danziger Bridge began at 9 in the morning. At least 9 New Orleans police officers responded to a radio call by a separate group of officers on the interstate, which runs next to the Danziger Bridge. Now, the officers on the interstate reported that they took fire and that the responding officers believed one of their own had been shot. Shortly after, the officers riding in a budget rental truck arrived at the bridge. They encountered a group of civilians. Now, this was the Bartholomew family. 2 parents, the teenage children, along with a nephew and his 17-year-old friend. Michael Hunter, one of the officers who pleaded guilty in this case, was driving that truck. Now, in Hunter's guilty plea, he said he fired his handgun out the window as the truck approached, which he believed would warn the civilians that the police were coming. Now, Hunter asserts one of the officers also fired an assault rifle at the people who had jumped behind a concrete barrier. Another officer also fired an assault rifle at another group of folks. This is Ronald and Lance Madison, who ran up the bridge. Hunter, like other officers who pleaded guilty, will testify that the civilians he saw lying on the bridge did not have any guns. In all, 4 civilians were wounded, while teenager James Brissett died on the bridge. Hunter and other officers then hopped into a car driven by a Louisiana State Trooper that arrived on the scene behind that budget rental truck. In his plea, Hunter said one of his fellow officers fired a shotgun at a fleeing Ronald Madison, hitting him in the back. Now, Madison died at the scene. Defense attorneys have said that one of their strategies in this trial will be to focus on the statements made by Lance Madison in the month after the shootings. Madison testified at a court hearing then that a group of civilians fired at him and his brother before the police arrived at that scene.
On Wednesday, jury selection will start in the case, a process that could take days. U.S. District Judge Kurt Engelhardt has blocked off 8 weeks for the trial. Check for daily updates on NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune starting Wednesday.
All right, give us a location. They're at the bottom of the bridge already. I see them